Welcome to episode 1 of Extra Credit with Noah and Jason. I think the first and only podcast between a teacher and a student. I'm Jason,
I'm Noah.
and this is our podcast. I'm his teacher, he is my student, and we just want to talk. This episode is definitely just going to be introductions. Who I am, who he is, how we got to this podcast, and just kind of talking about our school, right? I think it's very unique and just kind of what we do. So I'll start. I was working at a school for dyslexics predominantly, right? And he happens to be a dyslexic, and he was there to learn how to read and stuff better. And just over the months of us working together, our rapport got really good, our relationship got really good, and then the program just stopped working, and he needed something different, right? Something new, something to continue his progress, because what the school was doing wasn't working. So COVID hits, and at our very last session we've ever had at that school, he's like, hey, give me your phone number. My dad wants you to be my private teacher. And I was like, hell yeah, that's amazing. So I gave him my number, which I wasn't going to do at first because I was nervous. I was like, oh, if the school finds out that I'm trying to steal one of their students, I'm going to get fired. But I had the gut feeling that this was a good idea. So I gave him my number. His dad reached out to me probably like a couple days, right?
Yeah.
Might have been even the next day. And he's like, hey, you want to be Noah's tutor? Of course, I said yeah. And then we did that from like April to maybe July. And then his dad proposed the idea to me for me to homeschool him. And I never even thought this was a possibility, thought this was an idea. I definitely was underprepared, but our relationship was amazing. And I said, yeah, let's do it. And I just thought in my head, I'll figure it out as I go along, right? So then it started. We did all 9th grade. I homeschooled them. And then here we are, beginning of 10th grade. And
We did 8th grade, 9th grade.
we did 8th grade, 9th grade, and then this is year 3, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah, I forgot. It's been so much.
Okay, this is our 3rd year.
This is our 3rd year. And yeah, that's like the short story. Did I miss anything?
I don't think so.
No, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, we were on our 3rd year of homeschooling, and our school, I guess you could call it, him and his dad joke and call it the Jason School, is pretty different than what normal schools do, right? How would you describe it, I guess? If someone, like a stranger on the street, was like, oh, what kind of school do you go to? Like, what do you say? Because we always joke about
Part of
this.
school that's fun.
Okay, you say your school that's fun?
That's like, it's all it is.
Nice.
It's the part of school that's like, you like.
Uh-huh.
You don't hate like all school. You
Okay.
hate some school. So it's like the part of school that you like.
So our school is like all the good parts that our normal school is without all the bad parts.
Yeah.
Nice. You're making me sound real good right now. Okay. So that's definitely nice to hear. Let's just describe, I guess, what our like a typical school day for us is like. So, I mean, 8th grade was a lot of
Trial and error.
definitely 8th and 9th grade were tons of trial and error, right? He is dyslexic at the end of the day, and he still needed a lot of help to learn how to read when I started working with him. So 8th grade was just a lot of fundamentals, kind of like me figuring out the homeschool system, what we can and can't do, what they actually require, and, you know, just lots of like practice. 9th grade, we started to experiment a lot more with like different types of classes, lots of cool field trips, which maybe we'll talk about, and just less like traditional, you know, practice problems.
More of just fun.
And a lot more, I guess, yeah, fun stuff. And then now we do like, it's pretty crazy,
Yeah.
at least in my opinion, right? So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of, okay, so a typical school day, right? We've decided to learn Japanese, right? So we do Japanese every day for like half an hour to an hour. we do a gym class every single day pretty much. He's got a pretty cool home gym, so he works out there. I've given him like a workout plan and he's progressing crazy in there. So it's gym, Japanese. Then we've taken the GED route. So he's studying right now for his GED because, you know, maybe we'll get into it in a different episode, but college is just not our path, right? Indeed, not our path. So that's that. And then we just do like, 1 to 2 hours reading practice, math practice. And then he's got a pretty sick job at a bike shop. And that takes up a lot of his afternoons, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of our typical day. I mean, again, it really depends on whatever we're into. If there's a couple weeks where we want to learn something, we take the time to learn it, right?
Yeah.
And, that's kind of like our school, right?
Yeah.
Basically.
Okay.
All right. So basically, that little introduction was kind of all over the place, but that he just said that's basically us, right? We're a little, school is crazy. We bounce between things all the time. So I feel like that fits our personalities. So I definitely want to talk about us a little bit more. Why don't you start? I'll put you on the spot.
Oh, thank you, Jason.
I don't know. Why don't you just okay, you meet someone at the bike shop, right? Like an old person buying a bike. And they're like, "Oh, tell me about yourself." They're making small talk at the register. What would you say?
I hate those people.
Well, let's just assume I'm one of those people right now. What would you say?
What do you mean?
All right, fine. I'll switch the script. Let's say I'm at a bike shop and the cashier is like, "Oh, tell me about myself." Right? So you can think about your answer while I'm talking. So I definitely say I'm a homeschool teacher, which raises eyebrows for sure. Because people are like, "Oh, what does that entail?" So after I give them like a really brief summary of what I do, I don't think my job defines me, right? So I try not to say like my job when people ask who I am, because I feel like I'm a lot more than just a teacher, right? I'm a human outside of my job, as much as I do love it. So I guess I would say like I'm really active. I put him through hell a lot of times. We hike a lot, biking, rock climbing, working out in the gym, skateboarding, literally anything. Well, I try to experiment with anything. I get him to do stuff as well. I mean, we went on a 6.5, 7 mile hike yesterday, which is pretty average for us now. We're planning like a 15-mile hike in the spring. So we do a lot of that. I do a lot of that on my free time. I love to play guitar and drums. I actually wanted to be a musician prior to being a teacher. What else do I do? I like to read. I like long walks on the beach. I like poetry. Just kidding. I do like to read.
Do you hate poetry?
I don't really like poetry. We have a mutual dislike of poetry. We tend to make fun of it and roast it a lot. So any poetry viewers watching,
I want to watch.
meh. Sorry. Close your ears. What else? Yeah, so music is a huge part of my life. I force him to listen to a lot of music. Some he likes, some he doesn't. But, oh well. We do like to travel, which we'll get into in a second. We've been to some pretty awesome places. I feel like that's a pretty interesting part of our school.
Yeah.
We've traveled around a lot. So I like to travel. We love cooking and food. Oh yeah, can't believe I forgot that one. Right now we've been on a Korean food kick, but we just like any and all food. We definitely love to explore and learn about cultures through food. I think that's super underrated. Definitely talk about that more in the future. So I just feel like music, physical activity, those are like my two big ones that I feel like represent who I am. And obviously I love like teaching and learning and stuff. What else would you say about me? Did I miss anything?
I don't think so.
That sums me up pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. All right. That gave you like 2 minutes of filler to think of your answer.
Bikes. That's all I do. All I think.
All you think about is bikes?
All I do.
So if someone was like, "Oh, tell me about you," you feel like just bikes? You're just a bike?
I work in a bike shop. I have bikes. I ride bikes. I buy bike stuff.
You're wearing a bike hoodie.
I'm wearing
a bike hat.
I'm a mess.
Okay. Do you have any hobbies, interests outside of biking? I think cooking for sure, and food.
I think that's also been a hobby by force.
What, cooking?
I've had to cook for
Oh
myself.
yeah, you have to. Sorry, James, but Noah's had to cook, which is good. You've learned. I
Yeah.
mean,
So that was kind of like
he makes a pretty mean steak.
that was if I don't overcook it.
If well,
That was
Okay.
kind of like
cooking.
yeah.
Yeah. What else? So cooking and bikes, I'd say, are the two big ones. Music, we're working on, trying to open his mind up to more music. What else? He doesn't like paint or draw, none of that stuff. Definitely don't read poetry.
Oh, because I was forced to do that when I was at
Uh-huh.
other school.
I'll answer for him in this regard. He likes to build and create. He doesn't give himself enough credit, but I would say, and I'm going to quote his dad here, that's like his natural born strength, is like building, creating, tinkering with. Anytime we do a project where something has to be built, I just let him take over because I'm so bad at this stuff. I'm not a hands-on person. Him, on the other hand, I don't understand where he learned it from. It's like insane how he can do all these things. Right? Would you agree?
No, as you said, I don't.
Yeah, you don't think so, right? Because
No.
it seems like second nature to you.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we've built telescopes, we've built little DC motors, again, taking apart and putting together bikes. What else have we built?
Build an e-bike.
We built an e-bike. Yeah, that was pretty crazy. Yeah, so I'd say like your natural born strength is using your hands to build and create, right?
Yeah, sure.
I think so. And yeah, so that's you. So I guess segueing into like more into our school, as he said, biking is like everything to you.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, to say that it's an obsession is like an understatement.
Oh, it's my life.
It's literally your life. Like you're beyond obsessed.
Yeah, it's like you can be obsessed with something, but when it like becomes your actual like work and what you
Yeah,
do.
work, school. So when he really started to develop the passion last year during 9th grade, so many projects for school were about bikes.
Yeah.
We learned tons of histories and stuff about bikes. I mean,
I did projects,
yeah, lots of projects.
videos, working on the bike, and
We would, I mean, you built freaking pump track in your
Yeah.
backyard. Yeah, so that's one cool thing about our school that's been really successful is that whatever his interest is at the moment, I mean, bikes have stuck, so it's been a long-term one, but
thank God.
we do projects and stuff around it, right?
Yeah.
So like we had a pretty cool cooking project for a few weeks. We've had tons of bike projects. He was big into Photoshop for a little bit, so he made my logo, which was awesome. He's made logos for himself. We've made tons of cool, he has made tons of cool stuff on Photoshop.
We also were learning Adobe Premiere.
We were learning video editing. I think that is one thing that I would say sums up our school a lot, right? Is
Yeah.
anything we're interested in,
Yeah, we'll do.
we just do.
Yeah.
We don't even think twice about it. We just dive straight into it and try to learn it as
Yeah.
best as we can. We were going to build a go-kart from scratch, but we just, circumstance, we never got around to it. We won't name names, but yeah, so our school is definitely, people ask me about it. It's very passion driven. So literally anything he's into, we just roll with. We used to, when we did more intensive schooling, have free periods, like 5-6 free periods every week, where again, Photoshop, video editing, cooking, we were doing science experiments for a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, anything you were interested in, we just rolled with. We incorporated into school, and there's so much learning and stuff there. And then the passion, right, is definitely at the center. And then his natural born strength of being able to use his hands is like the main thing. So we're always building and creating, regardless of what the passion or the interest is. Right?
Yeah.
Would you say? So that's kind of like the Jason school. Of course, we do fundamentals, like we practice reading and algebra and science and
that's boring
history.
stuff.
We have to do some boring stuff. But even then, I mean, I feel like
Yeah.
we have moments where it's not totally boring. So
And make you do stuff that you hate too.
exactly, we both challenge one another. So I guess that's us, right? That's me, that's him, and that's kind of our school.